we're anchored just next to Caernarfon bar, and you'll see here where we are. And the little red spot over here, that's us, and you can see the route that we have to take to get through the bar. And at the moment you can see that from over here, there's a tide is getting full, and there's current going that way and that way. Isn't that interesting? This current is 3.5 knots, so we don't want to be going through that. But what I'm doing is I'm studying the high tide, because the tide is coming in now and it's nearly high, and we'll watch what the current does when the current drops off, and we'll also watch the boats coming. I saw a boat come in, a lifeboat came in just a few minutes ago on that current, coming in on that inward sweeping current at this fairly high level of tide. So that's obviously a good time to come in. And we want the current to be going the other way, to be going out, I would say, or neutral really. Neutral is what we're after, neutral current, and as higher water as we can get. So that's the plan really. And so we've got till the next high tide is at 2 o'clock in the morning, and you'll see we've got quite a long way to go. Quite a long way to go. This is our route here, and so it's 45 nautical miles, and we may go further out and come further around if we got more time. And so it's quite good to get some of that done in the evening, I think, and then we're waking up in the morning and we've got a whole day ahead of us to do what we like. And depending on how we get on, if we get to here and we decide we're travelling well, we could actually come straight through to here, or we could come through into here. It's just really a toss-up, but we don't know how far we're going to be travelling tomorrow, and we don't want to leave it so that we're stuck at sea all night. We don't want that. I don't mind. I'll go to bed early and wake myself up at whatever time I work out to be the right time. Probably about 3 o'clock in the morning, I should imagine, will be the right time to leave. But we'll see how that works out. You can see how it gives us all the various tides here running around Anglesey. So it's quite a complex arrangement of tides around Anglesey. It's worth studying. We've done our washing up, and we have some neighbours who just pulled in here. Obviously come to make a cup of tea or something. And so we're not alone in our little spot here, which is marked on the chart as an anchorage. And we're just sort of waiting and relaxing and getting over a few sort of difficult things that happened to me this morning. I suppose I could go over that. The first thing is sometimes when you throw the anchor over, you can't tell how deep the water is, and with a chain, with a rope it's not so bad, but with a chain it just goes straight down, and it looks like it's going, still hasn't hit the bottom, but in actual fact it's hit the bottom and it's laying chain out along the bottom, but the chain's still going straight down, and it just feels just as heavy. So this happened to me, it's happened to me once before, and it got right to the end of the chain, and I tied the chain on with a piece of rope, quite a thick piece of rope, so that I could untie it and attach a longer anchor rope if I wanted to. Otherwise the chain is just attached to the chain locker. Well, normally it's attached to the chain locker, but it is, yeah, I've got a short piece of rope about this long, so that it could come out of the little hole that it stashes into, and you can untie it and attach another length. Or some more chain, I've got some more chain to add to it if necessary. Whatever you want to do. So anyway, the whole lot came out right to the end and went tag, and the rope, it was like a really cheap rope, it just kind of stretched and the inside of the rope broke, and it was only the outside that was left holding onto the, that was all that was between me and losing the anchor, the whole lot anchor, whole lot of chain, everything. So I thought, wow. Anyway, I went through the emergency procedure and got it kind of sorted out, but it was really awkward, you know, because I wasn't prepared for it. And so it was good to kind of get prepared for all that stuff and to learn a little bit more about that anchoring, because I'm very, very well experienced with anchoring with a chain and a rope anchor. I've done charter fishing for years, but I've never had an all chain anchor. And so an all chain anchor is takes a certain amount of getting used to it. Now, I didn't actually know exactly how deep it was, or maybe it was a hole I'd thrown into, but then I came back and I saw we were in about 5 meters of water, so I thought, well, it's low tide at 5 meters, it's probably too low anyway. So I changed positions, I pulled everything up and I changed positions. I went into 2.5, 3 meters of water. So because it's going to come up at high tide, it's going to be deeper. That's where I'm parked now, and you can see on the chart plotter here, you can see, you can see whether you're dragging your anchor or not, because as you can see there, that's a mark of everything that's happened with the anchor. So it's not dragging, it's just the boat's just moving around on the anchor. Okay, I'll just take 5. Right, maybe you can see that a bit, but I just slid this table over a bit more, and my eye caught this, and this is what I'm using for a logbook. I just found this in a charity shop, and it's just got the log written on here, and then I'm just writing down where I was, and the main, I write down the time of the high tide and stuff like that, so that when I'm about to take off, I don't forget. So that's the plan, our passage planning. And what I've done is I've taken this opportunity today to do my passage, take the whole day to do my passage planning, anchored, waiting and observing the tide and the currents. And this Caernarfon bar, I'm watching the boats go in and out, of course, to see who goes. And it's interesting, that lifeboat, it came in on the incoming, last of the incoming tide, and it went out on the first of the outgoing tide. It went out. So I seem to have it in my same mind as a lifeboat guy, and so I'm pretty happy about that. Now, my motor, I got a feeling that the real problem with the motor is I put too much oil in the petrol, and I could put a bit of more petrol, I could add a bit of petrol to it, and I might do that once it's used up a bit, because I did remember putting too much in it. It just slipped, my hand slipped, you know. And so that's probably okay, it's good. The mistakes are the best part, because that's probably given it a really good lubricate and get its rings all going again. It hasn't been used for probably 20 or 30 years. And it's still, once it's started, it runs really well, but it's still difficult to start. And I've kind of, one thing I know, one mistake I was making was, because when you close off the engine, you don't just turn it off, because it's got kerosene in the carburetor, so you've got to turn it to stop. You've got to turn the petrol and kerosene off, so it uses up what's in the carburetor. Now you've got this empty carburetor, which is not a good thing anyway, you know what I mean? It's like it would be better if the carburetor was filled with petrol. So not have to, you know, because the float can get stuck at the bottom and all sorts of things. When it comes to close, it can not manage to close the valve, and you end up with petrol overflow, and there's all sorts of issues with that. So it's a bit of a dodgy arrangement to have a thing like that. And it's got like 2 different fuel supply systems. So the one is gravity fed, the petrol's gravity fed, and the other one is hooked up by a pump. And so I seem to be having trouble where it would start and then it would, maybe its pump is losing its prime by switching it from petrol to kerosene. I don't know. But this morning it seemed to fire up and then die, like it was using up all the fuel, and then it started again like it was starved for fuel, you know, in the kerosene department. I've never done that before. So I think it's just me, you know, it's just getting a good start seems to be the key. Once it's running, the pump seems to sort itself out after it's, you know, sort of started pumping and running and properly. It seems to, you know, if it's got any priming issue, it seems to sort itself out. It seems to be by lot with boats to have a difficult starting boat. This engine is hard to start. It doesn't matter what. It wasn't hard to start when I first serviced it. It's just become hard to start. Oh, maybe the spark plug getting a bit like fouled or something, and it's not sparking as good as it could from the start, and then once it started it's okay. Maybe it's just getting a bit fouled because the oil's mixture's too strong, too much oil in it. It's difficult. It's something that I'm going to have to master. I'm sure there is an answer to it. Once I get swapped over to kerosene, it seems to be good. What's going on out here? Maybe our neighbours is moving. They have a big fizz boat, and with the wind it can be difficult to anchor a fizz boat because you've got such a lot of wind resistance on the bows, the shape of the boat. A yacht anchors a lot easier to anchor a yacht. It doesn't have as much windage as a motor cruiser. Yeah, so here we sit. I think it's about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. We're going to go. So I have been tired. My back is really bad, and the more rest I get with the back, the better. And after dealing with the anchor today, yeah, I need more rest. So I'm going to stay up until I'm very tired later on and try to get about 6 to 8 hours sleep before 2 o'clock in the morning. So it's like nearly 3 o'clock now. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's like 11 hours already. So I'll stay up for a few more hours and I'll try and get a kick. And I'll set the alarm for high tide. And it'll be dark, but we can find our way on this thing with our nav light. As soon as we can start our engine, we'll be all right. I did start the engine just to make sure it'll start again. So I have started it on petrol once. And again, it took 5 or 6 pulls to get it going. And yeah, I'm not 100% sure what it is that I'm doing. It seems to be I'm giving it a lot of accelerator and full choke. That seems to be what's starting it. So it's kind of like not enough fuel issue really. But then you've got to turn the choke off real quick, otherwise it just kills it all with too much oil in there. Okay, fun and games. Well, that's it. I probably won't film anything because it'll be dark. So this will be today's filming. Tomorrow I'll be heading off. I'll be in the middle of the ocean tomorrow morning somewhere. So I'll try and film maybe the daybreak and that part of it. Okay, thanks for watching.